What the fuck? Seriously, what the fuck? This is giving my review for In the Flesh Season 2, Episode 3. What? Seriously, guys, what was up with that ending? We are going to talk about that, but seriously, guys, what the fuck? I can't get over that ending. It just was like, wow. I never expected something like that to happen on this show, but just, wow. Let's just get into the episode, because I want to talk about the ending, but let's first talk about the episode. So we see Freddie Preston. He's at home. He's watching videos of his wedding to Haley. And his watch alarm goes off, but Freddie ignores it. And then his wife Haley comes in, and she asks if it's time for his neutral pollution shot. Haley realizes what he's watching and says that he shouldn't, and sits down next to him on the couch. And basically, I think she is, he was watching it because he was remembering better times when he wasn't a Rabid. That's what he was, when he wasn't a PDS sufferer. That's what he was trying to see. And basically, we then see Haley's husband, Amir, come down and ask her to come back to bed. And, Haley and him are not together anymore, so he's kind of upset about this. And I really felt for his character in this scene. I thought that was definitely a very good scene. So after a moment, she goes back upstairs to bed, leaving Freddie all alone. So Gary drives Jem back into Rorton and parks in front of her house. She insists that she has to tell someone that she shot Henry, but Gary tells her to go in and say nothing. And try to get some sleep. He opens the door, assures her that everything will be okay, and Jem reluctantly goes in, and as Gary drives off, Kieran returns from the dead man's party, gets his regular jacket out of the bushes, and goes in. He sees Jem sitting in the garage, asks if she's alright. She says that she is. Kieran figures that she didn't want to face her parents, and as they go in, Kieran tells Jem that Henry was talking about her earlier. Sue and Steve didn't stay up, much to Kieran's surprise, and Jem goes up to her room. When she's alone, Jem takes out the revolver, hides in her drawer, and then lies down. She doesn't want anybody to know that she, killed, Henry. She doesn't want anybody to know it. So the next morning, Sandra knocks on, Maxine's door, offers her a cup of tea, and after a moment, Maxine calls back saying that she's in the middle of something. Sandra then sets down the tea, peers out through the keyhole, sees Maxine taking something out of her suitcase, and the landlady nervously backs away and then leaves. I thought that was a pretty good scene there. So Amir is making breakfast. Haley's preparing to go for a management course. Sees the briefcase that Amir bought her for her 28th birthday. Freddie comes in to get his give-back work apron and asks about his shoes. Amir irritably tells him that he needs a system. When Freddie says that he doesn't want to be with the other undead, Amir sarcastically comments that Freddie has nothing in common with them. He tells Haley that he'll be home at 6, and he will miss her birthday, unfortunately. So, that's unfortunate, but Haley says it's okay, and Freddie talks about a birthday he celebrates with her. Amir finally has enough. He reminds Haley that she was going to say something to Freddie, and when she doesn't, Amir says that they agreed to give Freddie 2 months there, and it's been 4 months, and asks if Haley wants Freddie gone or not. Haley doesn't say anything, and Amir walks out. Satisfied, Freddie smiles and leaves. So, then guess what happens? In the woods, Henry's body lies undiscovered. His bracelet for Jem lies by his hand, so Henry's not dead, surprisingly. So Jem is then dressing for school. At the breakfast table, Steve shows Kieran a web article about an undead who became a CEO and assures his son that the Give Back program works. He also has a local article by Pearl saying that the Give Back program works, but Kieran is not reassured. So Jem comes down but says she isn't hungry and leaves for school. But before she goes, Jem tells her parents that she loves them, much to their surprise. They're very surprised because she's never said that to them. So Amy comes in to pick up Kieran for their day's work at the Give Back program because, they have to work at they have to do the work, or else they're not, if they want to be re-citizenized, they have to do the work. So Maxine comes down for tea. Sandra notices that she has flies on Blue Oblivion. Sandra gossips about the use of Blue Oblivion and the MP, asks what she saw on the night of the Rising, and nervous Sandra claims that she and Clive slept through the whole thing. Jen comes in, asks for Maxine, and says that she went to confess. So, as Kieran's getting dressed, Amy comments that she saw him and Simon talking at the party. She asks what Simon said about her, and Kieran assures her that it was all good, so there's nothing to worry about there. So at Amy's bungalow, Simon sits on the bed and recites the undead prophet's creed, and then looks at himself in the mirror. Freddie meets up with Zoe Kelly and heads to work, and she comments that she didn't see him at the party. He says that he had better things to do, changing his life because it took a turn for the worse since he died. Zoe smiles, and Freddie wonders why and complains that he was just starting to build a life for himself when he was forced into the give back room. Zoe just smiles and says that she'll see. So, this girl obviously sympathizes with him. So as the undead arrive in the council hall, Philip notices that Simon has his work apron slung over his shoulder, and he doesn't know why. So Amy comes in with Kieran, and Philip smiles at her. She hugs Simon long and hard. Philip calls a meeting to order, and Dean hands out the work assignments. Most of them are sent to work on the fence, but Kieran and Simon are assigned to the surgery. So remember, you're assigned a job, you can't say no, you have to do it. Connie discovers that she's been assigned to her daughter-in-law as B&B and complains that she will be working with her for free. Philip quietly corrects Dean's list, and Dean announces that Amy will be staying there. So as the undead board the van going to the fence, Freddie begs for Dean to get him off the program. Dean reminds him that he was doing Windows without him, and Freddie bribes him with everything he made doing Windows. And after a moment, Dean gives Freddie 10 minutes. And Jem tells Maxine how she shot Henry and mentions that she's read a poem at his funeral, and Maxine is interested in the date of the funeral and then tells Jem to come with her. I was happy that Jem did confess that she did do it, because, you know, she had to eventually confess that she did it. So Freddie drives to workshop, notices that the door is jammed, checking the time he has left. Freddie then drives off, and as they walk to surgery, Kieran points out to Simon that Amy thinks they're an item and that Simon is leading her on. Simon says that nothing he can say will convince her otherwise, and that she's a woman who needs to see that she's loved. He assures Kieran that he loves Amy, but not like that, and he doesn't lead people on. So he doesn't love Amy like a girlfriend, he's basically saying. He loves her, but not like a girlfriend. Not as much as she loves him, and that's what I was kind of thinking. However, the ending might make me think different. I'll get to that in a second. So they go inside, and Dr. Russo greets them. Simon is shocked to see that they have 2 rabbits locked in a cage, and Russo explains that the government hasn't picked them up yet. The doctor then gives Kieran and Simon cleaning utensils, and assures them that the rabbits are sedated until the Neutropolitan takes effect. So Maxine and Jem take a taxi to the woods. The MP has Jem show her where it happens, and Haley is at her management course when Freddie pulls up outside, honks his horn. She goes outside. Freddie offers to take her birthday spin because, you know, he didn't want to forget her birthday. So she points out that he died in a car accident, and Freddie insists that he learned his lesson. He refused to take no for an answer. Haley finally gets in. Freddie drives off into the countryside. So they walk off to Henry's body, and Jem insists that she's trying to do the right thing. Maxine stops and tells her that Henry was a vicious killer and didn't grieve over his kills when he was Rabid. So honestly, killing him was the right thing to do. So Jem shouldn't grieve over killing him because it was the right thing to do. So the MP reminds Jem that she risked her life to protect her family and community, and then asks again where it happened. However, when they get there, Jem is shocked to see that Henry's body is not there. So obviously Henry's alive and he escaped. So that's not good, obviously. Freddie parks onto a hill, asks Hillary how things are going with Amir. He then talks about the last time they parked there and when he proposed to her, and she accepted. Hillary realizes where the conversation is going and tells Freddie not to. Amy is sitting in the council yard, bored with nothing to do at the desk. Philip insists that the selection process for jobs is random, but she doesn't believe it and says that she'd rather be with her friends. So at the surgery, Denise, the receptionist, opens the rabbit cage and shows Kieran how to use a guiding stick. Kieran reluctantly takes the stick but hesitates to lead the rabbit along. Denise grabs the stick back and yanks. Simon grabs her and tells her to get away from the rabbit. And Kieran intervenes and tells her they'll take care of it. But Simon says that he isn't. Finally backs down, however, and Kieran leads the rabbit off. So Jem and Maxine look around and find the remains of a campfire. Gary comes up behind them carrying a shovel, and Jem admits that she told Maxine what happened. The MP says that she sectionized the patrol and it's her responsibility, and Gary says that he burned Henry's body and buried the ashes where no one will find them. So that's why they can't find Henry, because he killed him. So Gary tells her that the back of the boy, but Maxine asks if Gary was sure Henry was dead. And Gary tells him, oh yeah, because the back of the boy's head was blown off, so obviously he's dead. So Freddie suggests that they just drive off and keep going, the 2 of them, until they can find some place that they can be happy together. He points out that she was watching the video, she just like him, and Haley said that it wasn't all good times. When Freddie wonders what she means, Haley said that he was never really there for her when she needed him. I really enjoyed this scene, because we got to see why she was so upset at him, basically. Because he was never there for her, that's the thing. He was never really there for her. And Freddie promises that he will change and begs Haley to come with him, and Haley unfortunately refuses, so that's not a good thing. So, Haley goes back to her management class, and as the trainer drones on, Haley glances out the window. And at the surgery, Simon empties a gallon jug into a toilet and then motions to Kieran to come over. When he does, Simon tells Kieran to ask for some more chemical cleaning because he doesn't trust himself to talk to Denise. And basically, Kieran notices, whispers Simon to put the keys back. And once they're done, Simon walks away from Kieran saying that he thought he was different. So, Freddie puts on a suit, reapplies his mousse, walks in, he puts his watch in the drawer, and then puts a note and a small package on the table for Hillary. So, Maxine returns to council hall, tells Philip that she was held up by continuity businesses, and he tells her about Henry's disappearance and shows her the missing flyers that he's prepared in advance. And when Maxie sees Amy working there, she tells Philip to get rid of her. When he doesn't know what to say, Maxine yells at Amy to get out. Amy leaves, and Maxine tells Philip to see Sylvia. So, at the bungalow, Simon meets with Zoe, Frankie, and Brian, and several other undead, talks about the undead at the surgery, and how the government plans to integrate them. He asks how long they're going to stay in the cage, and people they are instead of copies of the people they were. So Simon promises that it will be beautiful and flawless once they do. They then brings out a wet cloth and asks who wants to wipe off their mousse first, and Zoe takes a cloth and wipes off her mousse. So, Amir has made Haley a birthday cake, suggests that the next year they have a proper party. Haley nervously plays with Freddie's ring and then tells Amir they have to talk. So at home, Kira's sitting in the living room when Jen comes in. He asks if she's okay after what happened in school, but she refuses to discuss it. Yeah, she doesn't want to talk to him about it. I don't know why she doesn't want to talk to him about it. It seemed like they had a good relationship, but for some reason she did not talk to him about it. So, Haley goes to workshop. Freddie calls to her side until the slide into the jam door. Exasperated, she does so and stands up. He shows her he's decorated the workshop for her birthday before they hit the road, and Freddie begs her to come with him, and that'll change. And Haley said that he doesn't need to when he can go anywhere and do anything. When he says that he wants to do them with her, Haley tells him to do them with someone else because she's in a mature relationship with Amir, and Freddie admits that he's scared to be on his own, and Haley gives him a hug. So, Amir hears Freddie's watch alarm goes off, turns it off, realizes that Freddie left his neutral shots there as well. Haley tells Freddie that he'll be fine, realizes that he's turning rabid. Amir then runs out of the house. Haley calls for help, then pounds on the jam door. This is a really good scene, really intense here. Amir arrives with the neutral shots, tries to get the door open. Inside, Freddie gives Haley a hammer, puts his head down on the bench in front of her, begs her to do it, but she runs to the door. So, Kieran returns home, and just as the phone rings, it's Gary, and Jen refuses to take the call. Gary tells Kieran to tell her that Freddie's turning rabid, so obviously that's not good. Freddie screams at Haley to do it. She starts to advance on him. However, Freddie starts vomiting up black fluid, and Haley drops the hammer. Startled, and Freddie fights for her control and kicks it over to her. So, we then see a snarling Freddie who attacks Haley. She takes cover behind a metal frame, and as Kieran arrives, the door opens. He slides under it, tries to what was I saying? Kieran pleads with him to let Freddie have a shot. Gary reluctantly holds off. Amir brings over the injector, and Kieran gives Freddie his shot. So, Gary ties Freddie up, tosses him into the back of his truck. He tells Kieran that he's going to lock him up. This is the very end of the episode, and the end, as I said, is very weird. When Kieran objects, saying Freddie just forgot his shot, Gary says he doesn't care, drives off frustrated, and Kieran then runs off. So, Jem is sitting on her bed at home when Gary comes to the back door and gets her attention. He says that he came to check on her, and she says that he has to go. Gary starts to walk away. Jem comes out and asks why he called earlier. He admits that he wanted her alone to handle Freddie, but she says that she can't patrol after what happened. She doesn't want to kill anybody else because she knows she killed Henry, and she doesn't want to do the same thing to someone else. So, Jem wonders how he can be so casual about what happened, and Gary says that he had no choice, just like neither one of them did during the Rising. He then hands her Henry's necklace, and he kisses her. So maybe Gary and Jem are starting a relationship, and then the most surprising part of the episode, Kieran goes back to the bungalow. He's gasping. He's out of breath. And he's at Amy's bungalow. And Simon wonders what happened. Guess what happens? Kieran goes over to Simon. And he kisses him. And Simon kisses him back. What? What? You're telling me all this time Kieran has been gay? And Simon's been gay as well, and they like each other that way? I never would have thought that. I mean, this is a great twist, but it's just like, what? It sounds unbelievable. If I tell someone that, they would not believe me, because it just doesn't sound believable, because it's from the show. It doesn't sound believable. I never thought they would have something like this, and honestly, it's a genius twist, but it's just like, what? Honestly, it really is surprising, but overall, this episode was the best episode of the season. I loved it. I loved everything that happened in this episode. Really interesting where Kieran and Simon's go. It looks like in the next episode, it might have just been maybe feelings they have for each other, and they just need to get them out. I don't know. Are they actually gay, or are these just feelings they had for each other? I don't know. We'll have to see what happens there. As far as Freddy, I thought his plot was very well done. I love Freddy. Also, I love Freddy's plot in this episode. Also, Jem, do you think that Jem's afraid to kill people? Do you think she'll end up having to kill someone again? I think she will probably have to. We'll have to see what happens there. And also, what's going to happen with the jobs? Do you think that they're going to be, actually going to be able to get reinstated to where they need to live, or what's going to happen there? But that's my review. Hope you enjoyed. My next review will be for 2 movies that I saw today. I'm not telling you what they are, but you guys will see those reviews after this review. So I'll see you guys for that. Bye.